you get a call from the family of a close friend who you have been informed has passed away, and they're giving you the information regarding the wake for this person, and you know, the date and time comes and you are heading to this wake, and you've also been informed that this is, according to them, a non-traditional wake. Don't know what that means, but you're in your grieving process, and you are heading to the funeral home. You get to the funeral home and you are shown into a room, and lo and behold, you see in the distance your close friend, and you see that there has been a kind of stage set up, and there's a rope around the stage, and you see your close friend on that stage. They seem to be enjoying on a wide screen their favorite sports team. You see them with their favorite sports team cap, favorite sports team jacket. They're sitting on a stool at a table, enjoying their favorite drink, and they're watching their sports team. And you look and you say, yeah, your face is like this, and you say to their family, but I thought you told me that my dear friend passed away. And their family confirms, yeah, they've passed away. So you're either in shock, you're mortified, you're freaked out, whatever you are, or you are in awe of what you're seeing, and you are basically witnessing the non-traditional wake. Now, unlike what we're used to, when someone passes away, we're used to going to a funeral home and going to a wake. We step into the funeral home, we step into a particular room, and the deceased is there, but in their casket. So we expect the traditional casket, we expect the traditional flowers, we expect the traditional religious music to accompany that. That is what we are used to when it comes to the traditional wake. But there is an increasing interest where people, as part of their as part of the process where they are arranging their own funerals, they are requesting these very non-traditional wakes. Now, a couple of months ago, one of my sisters sent to me a video where a woman was presented, the deceased was presented in a very non-traditional way at her wake, and as part of that person's request, the family honoured that and had the funeral home prepare this scene for the deceased. And a lot of funeral homes seem to be doing that. They are creating wakes that are non-traditional and that are based around specific themes that fit into the lifestyle of the person. So in this case, I just described the non-traditional wake of someone who was an avid sports fan, and as part of her request, she wanted a wake to reflect that, you know. So the funeral home created a theme, a sports theme non-traditional wake for her. And there have been others that I've seen in video only, for example, of musicians who have had non-traditional wakes where they are, you know, part of a band and they play whatever instrument they play, or if they're the singer, they may have a band behind them with, you know, their mic, and they're in their suit and they have mic in their hand. Or there was one that I saw of a woman who she liked to, I think, gamble. So she's at a casino and she's at one of the tables and she's, you know, she's having her last game. And the thing about it is that they're tastefully done. It's not like they're I mean, you look at it and you'd think that really it's almost like stepping into almost like a wax museum, if you think about it. It's like going into a wax museum and seeing the likeness of someone in there, and that you identify with that person because you say, oh, that's my close friend or my family member, and I know that person loved to do, in this case, sports, or another case, sing or be in a band, or another case, play at the casino. And you can choose any theme that you want. These funeral homes will create the scenario for you in that case. These are non-traditional wakes. They're interesting enough for me to comment about them in this video, and I'm asking, traditional or non-traditional wakes, or traditional versus non-traditional, are they sacrilegious? I don't know. I mean, when I first saw the video, I thought it was a wax museum setup, so I didn't see anything of it. And specifically, I have to say that with the example of the woman who was the sports themed wake, the funeral home had roped off the stage, and so they had set up everything, I think, at a comfortable distance for the family to come and to pay their respects. And if anyone else, when anyone else came, it was at a distance, I think, that would make them feel comfortable. And there was a little dance floor there, right? And they played, they being the funeral home, the favourite songs of that person. And the family came and they were dancing and singing, and you know, you saw them there, and observing that and knowing that it was a wake, my first impressions is that it seemed very odd and almost sacrilegious, only because I was comparing it with the traditional and what we are used to. And then when I really looked at it again, I said, here is a family in mourning, and here they are on this little dance floor in a funeral home, and I think their joy and their way of grieving was just to be able to fulfill the wishes of the person that passed. So in this way, in this very non-traditional way, so I'm asking myself, awake, traditional or non-traditional? Traditional versus non-traditional. It's a very intimate choice and a very personal choice that a person has to make. And I have to say that we shouldn't be afraid to explore whatever options we think are right for us, because not all of us want to have a traditional wake, especially if it is one that doesn't reflect the ideas that we promoted in life. And I think a lot of people are moving towards non-traditional wakes because they want it to reflect who and what they stood for in their lives, or at least the essence of what their lives meant to them. It really is dependent upon what one chooses to have and what the family is comfortable in doing. And I have to say, like I said, I looked at the video, and if you look at, I think that you can't take offense if you look at death as a wholesome process in terms of our lives. And I think a lot of us are very much afraid to deal with the issue of death because we hope it never comes. Hope it never comes to any one of us. And yet it's a natural part of the cycle of life. And that's it. It's as simple as that. None of us can avoid it. And if anyone has, at any time in human history, I would like to meet that person. But I'm thinking back, right? And to a tradition that we have within Caribbean culture, and I have to say specifically Jamaican culture, coming from a British Jamaican background, right? So I know that within the British Jamaican culture, we have something called 9 nights. This is something where when someone has passed, the community, the family, the friends will gather on the 9th night after that person has been laid to rest. I don't know where the tradition comes from. I don't know why the 9th night was chosen. So if you're listening to this, if you come across this video, and you can add more info, more insight to this, and please do. I just know that 9 night or the 9 night tradition is where the family, friends come together, and as Jamaicans do, they eat, they drink, they listen to music, they play their dominoes, they make jokes. It's part of the process of celebrating the life of that person. So on 9th night, you come together, and it really is a celebration of that person's life. They talk about the person, in a good way, and just honor the memory of that person. Another thing I know that they do is that they turn the pictures around in the house, and they turn the mirrors around. The symbolism behind why that's done, I'm not sure. So if you can add insight to that, then hey, let me know. But this is something that's also done. But like I said, 9th night really is the time to get together and to honor the memory of the person. So when you look at that and you match it against the whole idea of this non-traditional wake, it's similar in that you're pretty much honoring the memory of the person. You're remembering the person in terms of their life and celebrating the life and the essence of that person, and it's not wrapped up in this traditional themes that sometimes people, just don't connect to. And if you look at cultures around the world, that a lot of cultures that are non-Christian, for example, do celebrate the lives of people who have passed in very non-traditional ways. I mean, there are some cultures where the deceased is, you know, dressed and perfumed and laid out on a type of bed with flowers, and they're paraded around the community, you know, prior to being buried. There are other cultures that have the deceased on display in the homes prior to the funeral process, and there's a lot of emphasis on just honouring the life of that person in ways that we might consider that to be non-traditional. So I guess this whole idea of this video that I saw, where funeral homes do a non-traditional theme for the deceased, I guess that's not too different from that if you really think about it, you know. What would you say, traditional or non-traditional? That's a question to think about. And if it's non-traditional, what theme? What theme? Now the interesting thing is that that same video my sister sent to me, right, about the non-traditional wake themes, I had it posted on some of my WhatsApp groups, and it got really positive responses. People were looking at that and they were saying, oh yes, when I pass away, I want them to do A, B and C, and make sure you do this with me and do this and that, you know. So I was very surprised regarding that. So traditional or non-traditional, that is the question. You know, it takes a very liberated mind to think on that, you know. Life is a cycle, you know, and I think that the more we embrace it, our life and our death, I think the more wholesome our lives can be. But what do you think? Thank you for sharing your time with me. I hope that my hindsight has and will inspire you, and that you will find your own way